So, hi everybody, hope you can hear me over the torrential rain that's going on outside. But in true BBC style, in a change to our advertised programmes, because I'm frozen and I can't use my video editing speed too well today, we're going to go over something else. Obviously this week I received my email for my annual NAPIT assessment. Now I knew it was coming, so my test has already gone away to get its calibration for the year. Hope that's coming back next week. I think I mentioned in part 2 of the video series I'm doing on the bungalow that I'm getting upgraded. I'm getting up to, it's going to be effectively the equivalent of a KT63 Plus to enable it to properly do Type A RCDs. I may do a video at some point in the difference between an A and an AC RCD. And the differences in the testing and stuff. Anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, I wanted to make this video about what's involved in the NAPIT assessment process. Now, there's been many videos online that cover the NICEIC assessment procedures every year. And to be honest with you, NAPIT is not that much different. It's pretty much the same. But I thought I'd go through what I've got to go through anyway, because it might be useful to people. One of the big things, obviously, that has changed is this new requirement from the EAS in September 2021, which now makes it really quite hard for anybody to join a CPS scheme for the first time. Now, a lot of people might say, well, this is a darn good idea, and I'm one of them actually. It shouldn't be just here's your piece of paper, sign it and you're a competent person. No, you should be able to know what you're doing. Now, what I don't know, and I will be asking my assessor, is whether people like me and other people that are already on competent person schemes, do we have to now go for more qualifications to make sure that we can keep our competent person scheme? And I will be asking that question because at the moment no one seems to have an answer to that. If we do, yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, I'm going to show you the note that got published on September 2021, and then I'll go through what's needed for NAPIT. Right, so on the screen here we've got obviously this is what the changes are going to be. Domestic electrical installer beams being replaced. Okay, so let's just have a quick read. In order to be able to self-certificate electrical work undertaken in a domestic dwelling, individuals need to register with the scheme providers like a competent person scheme, i.e. NICE and NAPIT. Note, these changes are specific to the domestic electricians. I believe things like industrial and commercial are not affected by this change. It is purely domestic. So we need to come down here and let's have a look and see what the changes are. Let's have a go down here. Here we go. Let's go down. There we go. The two main relevant changes. So these are the bits that have changed. A requirement is now required to hold a formal craft qualification such as an LCL Awards Level 3 in installing, testing and ensuring compliance of electrical installation in dwellings. I'm sure City and Guilds will be coming out with the same. They haven't yet. Candidates will also have to build an on-site portfolio with a CPS registered electrician, along with a current BS 7671 inspection and testing qualification to Level 3. No, so we've got that. I've just read that wrong. Sorry, inspector or the sitting at Level 3, which is what you do to get your AMS 2. Okay, and you need 5 years' experience to do that bit. But this bit here is the interesting bit. Up until now, you've not needed to have a portfolio to join a CPS scheme. That's been specific to the Level 3 and the AMS 2. But now, you're going to need to have a portfolio regardless if it's domestic, industrial or commercial. And you're going to need this. Now, this admittedly came in 2020, but you need 2 years experience as well. So basically, the days of the going for a quick qualification at a training establishment are gone. You can no longer do that. In fact, yeah, I believe you could do that at the end of 2020 even. But now they've really come down, they've clamped down hard on this now. So basically, that's where you are now. If you're joining for the first time, you're going to have to do these new qualifications, and then you're going to have a portfolio. And what's missing here is actually the portfolio has to run for 2 years. So before you can join a CPS scheme. Now, like I say, what I've not been able to find out and get clarification on is whether people already on a CPS have to do these new qualifications and do these portfolios, and whether you're going to lose your CPS until it's done. I will find out. Obviously, that's going to be a real bind for an awful lot of electricians if that is the case. I'm hoping that it isn't, but like I say, I've not got clarification yet. I will try and find out. So, yeah, so that is basically what you need to be on a CPS scheme. So, and in some ways, I'm really pleased that this is what they're doing, because it will hopefully remove electricians from the workplace who aren't really that qualified. Now, this has been the case, like I say, since about 2020, but they've really got their handle on this now in for the coming year. Now, I believe this is the City and Guilds new course, 2346-03, for experienced operatives who do not have the recognised qualifications. So it looks like there is a City and Guilds qualification already out there. So there you are. So that's what you're going to need if you want to get into the electrical industry from now on, basically from September just gone. You're going to need that. I'm afraid it even looks like the options for 23, 65, 2 and 3, that's gone. That's acceptable anymore either. So you've literally got to go down down that route now to join. Anyway, hopefully there'll be more clarification about that in the coming months. There are a lot of people on the various forums and things moaning and complaining about this and trying to find out, do I have to now be retrained, requalified, and no one seems to get an answer yet. So hopefully there'll be an answer forthcoming. Anyway, let's get back to NAPIT. And let's assume that you've done all this, or you're already on NAPIT and you're coming up for your assessment, either brand new to it or it's a renewal. For me, it's a renewal. Mainly, it is exactly the same, both for renewals and brand new. There's one or two differences in the fact that if you're doing it brand new, then you'll have to produce proof of your qualifications and your experience in order to join. Okay. Now, qualifications are, as I say, they were listed on the EAS website, and obviously now they've changed. But before, when I joined NAPIT, I had 2365, both 2 and 3. I had the 18th edition. I had my inspection and testing qualifications. I had everything they needed on there, plus the experience on top of that. So that got rid of that, no problem at all. So you will need, and you'll need your original documents for that as well. The next thing that they'll want to see is your insurance, and they are very specific about the insurance that you'll need. You'll need public indemnity and personal liability. I think we got that wrong. Personal liability. So for public liability, you'll need 2 million. And for professional indemnity, you'll need £250,000. That's what you need on the insurance. That's what the NAPIT will expect you to see. So that covers the insurance side of things. Now at the moment, I don't know whether I'm actually going to get a visit or whether this will be done on Zoom. Last year my assessment was done on Zoom because of COVID. I don't know whether I'm actually going to get a visit this year. Anyway, but either way, whether it's Zoom or whether it's a personal visit, you'll then need to produce the mandatory books, which obviously I've got another video about. And there's also the PDF documents that you will need as well. Again, that's in that other video. So once he's verified that you've got all of that paperwork, so the list of stuff you need is actually quite extensive. This is the checklist. So apart from the documents I've already mentioned, you're also going to need to have, as I've mentioned, a complaints procedure. I'm just going to read off this. You're going to need a list of any contracts and invoices that you've done. They'll need to see those. Copies of issued certificates. As I say, record of complaints. A health and safety policy statement. They're easy to do, really. There are templates available which you can tailor to your own company, and I've actually done that for mine, so that's reasonably straightforward. Records of any risk assessments. I haven't done any in the last 12 months. I haven't needed to. Any instrument hire, calibration certificates for any test equipment that you have. Any building regulation notifications. I've got quite a lot of those this year. And there's a couple of other things which are more related to bigger businesses, like internal review meetings, training, confidence, that sort of thing. They're not really aimed at the individual or companies, to be honest. Again, we've got things down here like employee responsibilities, document and data control, customer inquiries and quotations. You'll need those. I've just done contracts. Any suppliers or subcontractors you've hired. That paperwork you'll need. To the practical side of things, once you've done all that, now they won't actually go on to the practical side of things unless they're satisfied that you've got all that done. So they could spend probably a good couple of hours with you going through all of this and making sure you're all up to date with all the paperwork. So it is really important that before the assessor comes, make sure your paperwork's done. Otherwise, if it isn't and he queries it, he won't take you to the next stage, which is the practical side of things, and you'll have to put it right before he comes back again. Anyway, so the next thing is you will need to do 2 site visits, and each of those sites that you'll be going to will have to have a minimum of 2 new circuits. So going to a property where you've just done an outside socket install or something like that won't be good enough. You've got to go somewhere where you've done at least 2 new circuits. Now luckily I've got quite a portfolio of that this year. Not all of it's been on YouTube because I've not been able to video at some places, but I've got quite a portfolio of that, so I'm not really worried about that. Obviously you'll need the homeowner's permission before you do this, and then they will go and have a look at your installation. They will query you about it, what you did, why you did it. They may query you about if there's any BS 7671 regulations that you've adhered to specifically. They will then go through what testing you did, and they will want to marry those up with the test results you've got. So take your test equipment with you because you will be asked to demonstrate the testing procedures. Safe isolation included. They will test you on that. Don't get it wrong. It would be embarrassing if you do all the rest of it right and you get that one bit wrong. And then they will, as you're there, they will throw in general knowledge questions at you. They could fire anything at you. I remember last year, while I was doing my ring final testing, out of the blue, he suddenly fired questions at me about special locations. So not only was I trying to remember how to do the ring final testing, but I suddenly get my head on and think, right, okay, but we need to do all that bit. They are thorough. They they're not there to catch you out. Okay, they are not there to catch you out. They're there to help you. But on the other hand, they want to know that you do know what you're doing, because they don't want to sign you off and say yes, you're a competent person, and you're not. So they will fail your assessment if they feel you're not up to scratch. So really, that's about it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to video the assessment when it takes place, because I'm not really allowed to, and I'd rather be concentrating on the assessment rather than taking video, to be fair. That's coming up in the next week or two. I've got to go through this and make sure there are changes to this year. One of the big changes that I noted on this sheet is I now have to have all of the approved documents from A to P. I have to have them all. And at the moment I've only got a couple of them, because I only needed a couple last year, but now I need them all. So I've got to go and get them. But at least they're PDFs, they're not, you don't have to go out and buy those, so that's fine. So yeah, so that's where really the assessments are. The other thing that I also have to do, there's also a separate section on the inspection for me. So I have to produce the EICR certificates I've done this year. It isn't clear, and I will be asking my assessor whether I also have to do a visit to a place where I've done an EICR. My guess is I probably do, which means I've got 3 visits to do, not 2. But we'll find out about that. Anyway, I hope it's useful to people. Like I say, have a look at the book one that goes through in detail what books and things you do need to be on a CPS scheme. This is basically about what happens on the assessment. So yes, I think that's about it really for today. Anyway. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope it's useful, and I will see you on the next one.